Thank you for your invitation, your friendly invitation. Thanks to the Academy and to Ivan. And I'll go just in the middle of our topic. Drang nach Osten. Put some materialist input, you can hear from me, to a post-colonial discourse, maybe. It's a German word, it's a German expression, Drang nach Osten, so it's a historic term reflecting a constant drive, geopolitical drive and constant geopolitical pressure of German politics for following so-called economic needs or also geopolitical pressures and geopolitical visions, if you would define it in another way, since some hundreds of centuries, but I'll just occupy ourselves and myself with the near past. And this Drang nach Osten always has been interrupted, also, surely. Last times, it's interrupted by internal and by external factors, so to speak. In the last century, by two times Germany lost the war, so this was a sort of an interruption. But since the breakdown of the communist Eastern Europe, the so-called East Bloc, in 1989, where the communist parties break apart and the political communism somehow was smashed, and 1991, when the economic pillar of this Eastern Europe, the Comecon, was dissolved in June 1999. So since this breakdown, a new wave of economic colonization takes place in Eastern Europe. When I speak of Eastern Europe, I mean these countries, more or less, they are now members, they got members of the European Union since 2004, 2007, we'll come to this. A precondition for this new wave of economic colonization, as I call it, was first of all a consolidation of Germany itself, respectively an enlargement of Germany, which was on the level of the nation, the German nation, which was not allowed till now to other nations. They could unify in the same way, like the Romanian nation with Moldavia and Romania, like the Serbian nation with Republika Srpska and Serbia, like the Albanian nation with Kosovo and Albania. So it was all only till now, and it seems to be also already finished in that sense. It was only allowed to Germany to somehow consolidate nationally and enlarge nationally, which is quite an important factor to me, that because it shows also a geopolitical strongness of how Germany goes with this new, bigger Germany, 5 new lands into the whole thing. As a consequence of this German reunification, it is said, I would say it's a consolidation, it's an enlargement of Germany. We can face a repainting of the political landscape, of the political map of Europe after 1945. So the Yalta agreements were smashed in a way also with this enlargement of Germany. And since then, there was a phenomena that the German enlargement process somehow continued under the umbrella of the European community, and which was, after a while, turned into a union. So I would call this a Europeization of Germans, Drang nach Osten. The driving force of this whole EU enlargement process was capital, to my mind. It was an economic, it is an economic phenomenon, seeking for better and more profitable conditions of accumulation. In fact, to overcome a structural crisis of capitalism, which we face since its beginning, and especially after the 1970s. As we see now, after 2008, it didn't function, but so it was a sort of a postponement of this structural crisis Germany and Europe and the capital of Germans and capital of Western Europe faced. This unionization was the instrument for this enlargement, unionization of the European community, making it to a union in 1992. As you know, in Maastricht, they somehow put criteria like government deficit, government debt, inflation rate, and so on. All the countries and all the people of the countries now have problems to under this sort of economic dictate. And Maastricht 1992 was followed by a militarization of the European Union. At that time it was a union already. In 1997, when the Amsterdam Agreement somehow forced all members of the European Union to stand together militarily and to form a special army, special force within the framework of the European Union. And only then, after this consolidation of the core of the EU 15, the invitation to the Eastern Periphery was given in 1998. So we have, first of all, the unionization in Maastricht, then the militarization in Amsterdam, and then the invitation to the Eastern European countries. 10 of them made it till now. Croatia is, as you know, is somehow in the so-called process of dialogue. Also, there is no real dialogue. It's only a takeover of the rules the European Union made till now. Macedonia is in a sort of a Warteschlange, we say in German. This all happened since 1998 in the so-called screening process, when all these East European countries somehow were screened, their economy, their laws, their political elites were screened by Brussels. As you remember, because we are in Slovakia, Slovakia at the time in 1998 was put in the second row because of Major's politics of partly self-reliance and also of his economic politics because he tried to balance his relations, the relations of Slovakia between East and West. This was also due to the Druzhba-Gazprom line, because this is in itself already a sort of a balanced possibility to balance politics. So we face a process of peripheral economic integration, as I would call it, requiring or facing three essential factors in Eastern Europe. The territorial instability, I come to it, the weak political elites, and a non-existing alternative, which is very important also. So the territorial instability, what do I mean with this? It's quite important to me that that 6 out of 8 East European countries who became members of the European Union somehow were newborn countries. I speak of Slovenia, Slovakia, Czechia, Lithuania, Latvia and Estonia. And when you count also Cyprus with it, it's another nation which is not territorial stable in a way. So this already shows the geopolitically weak standard of these Eastern new members, and it is somehow even more visible when you speak when you see the weak political elites which tried to run the countries in this period of time between 1989-91 and 2002, let's say 2002, because in 2002 there was the Copenhagen Accord, which in a way was the starting point of the enlargement of the membership, not of the enlargement, sorry, of the membership. So these weak political elites we can easily analyze, for example, in Poland, where in the first 4 years between 1989 and 1993, 5 different governments somehow rhythmically changed between Solidarność and post-communist governments. There was only one stable factor behind. This was Leszek Balcerowicz. He was trained in the United States and by IMF supported a man from IMF, Jeffrey Sachs, who was, by the way, before he came to Poland, he was in Yugoslavia, first in Belgrade and then in Ljubljana. So this one stable factor, it's a person, but it's in a way, for me, it stands for a system, was more or less the IMF, so the International Financial Organization. And there were at least 3 countries who didn't accept the whole pressure, the crude way of economic colonization at that time, in the first half of the 1990s. 3 countries who rejected the idea by saying, no, we want to be members in a future Europe, but not on our knees. We don't want to go there on our knees, and I would differ 3 different types of governments who tried to avoid this crude way of peripheral integration. A left model, more or less in Romania, a right model, more or less in Slovakia, and a liberal model in Slovenia. In Romania, till 1996, we have the government of Ion Iliescu #1, because he came to power afterwards again. And he made this self-reliant policy, or this wasn't a really self-reliant policy, he somehow rejected the acceptance of a crude way of economic colonization, because his the government before him he got rid of the debts of Romania in 1989, so there was no pressure from the side of the IMF and the World Bank to put Romania on this economic colonization trip. In Slovakia, till 1989, there was this major government with right-wing support, more or less right-wing, and very strong right-wing support, because of, as I said already, his special geopolitical location, the Druzhba oil and gas pipeline, the transit function, and it came out also, for instance, for the energy project of Mozart, that he didn't work with the German, but with the Russian and French investors. So this already showed that he tried to make a balanced politics between West and East. And the Slovene model, to me, was the most curious and the most successful in a way, because there was a totally different concept of privatization behind the transfer